Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I am Kaustubh Bhavsar and currently I am in my last year of computer engineering at MIT OE Pune. This is my capstone project of creating a YouTube videos regarding DevOps, and in this series this is my Git and GitHub tutorial. So if you are beginner and you don't have any knowledge about Git or GitHub, else you are a working developer, this video is just for you. In this video, I will be covering all the basic concepts and necessary things regarding Git and GitHub. And apart from that, I will also try to cover all the basic commands of Git. So this video is divided into two parts, and in this first part, we will be covering all the basic Git commands and some Git tutorials. And in next part, we will be covering about the advanced part. This is my capstone project. I am Kaustubh and Dr. S. A. Jain sir is my capstone project guide. And now without wasting time, let's get started. So this is the table of contents where we will be covering what was the exact issue before the Git, how the life was there, then what is Git, what is GitHub, what is exactly difference between both, then why we use Git and GitHub, then then Git in DevOps because this is a complete DevOps series, and then important Git commands. Then we have a hands-on demo part 1 and part 2, and lastly the summary of overall presentation. So live before Git. Uh, so exactly the issue was when there was no Git. Suppose if any particular company, multiple developers are working on one project. Then issue was if I am working on a project and simultaneously the other developer is also working on same thing. So if I want to share my changes with the other developer, I need to send my file by using something. For example, I shared my zip file using email, and now other developer is also working on that same part, so he need to compare his and my both changes, then make a new zip file and then again add the changes in that. And suppose at the same time if third developer is going to add some changes, so it is kind of a very hectic procedure and very inefficient for collaboration. So, and also if I am creating multiple versions of my code, suppose in my first code I created a feature 1 and this is my first version, and in version 2 I created my feature 2. But now after creating versions and versions, in version number 4 I realized I have added some errors in version number 2, so it was not possible to backtrack at that time. So this was also a big issue. So the problem majorly where there was no version control, we were losing the previous versions, then there was no proper collaboration, because if multiple developers are working on same thing, then they did not had any a platform where the code is there which is actually the updated or the latest code. They need to just connect with each other, get to know which is the latest code, then compare the changes manually, and this is very hectic procedure. Then there was conflicts when multiple developers were working together, and the issue was developers really had to send files manually and manage everything with file names. So you can see this big file name, final project version 2.1 fix really final. So this was very hectic for everyone, and this was actually the life and the issues uh, which were present before Git. So now you understand that having something which controls the version of our code is the first necessary part, and having a place where all the latest code is present is what the second necessary part. And that is how Git and GitHub came into the role. The Git is something which is a version control system which generally tracks the changes in our code. So if I have added feature number 1, this code will be stored as first version. If I add the second feature and save my changes, then this will be added as second feature. So the important thing is, like, at any moment I think my second or third version is not proper, I want to backtrack to my first version, then it is possible with the help of Git. And it helps developers to collaborate efficiently. It works locally on our machine. So whenever Git comes in role, it comes in our local machine. So it is generally used to track the versions of our code in our local machine. Now, what is GitHub? So now we track the version of our code on our local machine by using Git. But now there should be a place where all the code is saved and everyone should be able to access the code. So if n developers are working on a same project, there should be one place where all the developers can check what is the latest code. they can use the latest code and add the features and post their features on that platform as well. So this is GitHub. GitHub is nothing but the same concept. It is a cloud based hosting service for Git repositories. So whatever our codes are there, whatever our changes are there, versions of our code are there, we are going to put the Git repositories into an internet place where everyone, other developers can access this, and this is generally called as GitHub. So developers store their code, manage their code, and collaborate on projects. And GitHub plays an important role in integration with CI/CD tools. This is exactly the difference between Git and GitHub. Features are like type, storage, purpose, and interface. So Git is something which is version control system. It is working on our local machine, and while GitHub is something which is a cloud-based Git hosting platform where the code and each part is stored so that everyone can access that, and it is something remote. The purpose of Git is to track the code changes, while on GitHub we can collaborate and manage our project. Git is something which can be accessed through command line, while GitHub is something which has a UI or CLI both, and we can do the things by using UI also. Now moving forward, why we use Git and GitHub. So I just explained you what were the issues before Git and GitHub and how we resolved that. So I think this will be easier for you. So why we use Git and GitHub? It's just first we need to track our changes. Then we have to work with different teams. We create the branches for new features. So suppose I'm working on a project and I have created my project and I have its version number 1. Now I have to add some features. For example, I want to add email authentication, but it is not mandatory feature for me. I just want to experiment whether it can integrate with my existing system. So what I will do is I'll just create a separate branch of my current code. I will try to integrate email authentication in that. And suppose I get successful, then I will just merge that branch into my existing branch. If I am not successful, that code is not worthy, I'll just discard that branch. So this is one important thing. It is not only limited for adding features. It has a way large scope. So branching is very advanced concept in Git and GitHub, and we will try to cover that part in the second part of this second hands-on demo part of GitHub series. And also we revert to older versions. I just told you that the reverting or backtracking was not possible the at the time where Git was not there, but now I have versions stored on my local as well as and remote as well as, so I can just revert to any older version, and it helps us to automate the deployments. Now, how Git fits in DevOps? So we are generally working on a playlist which is going to relate with DevOps, and we are trying to cover all the concepts of DevOps. Before this video, I have already created a video of introduction to DevOps from very basics, and in our playlist, my other friend Shreyas has also created one video which is regarding DevOps tools. So this is exactly implementation of Git and GitHub, and in further parts we'll be covering Jenkins, Docker, etc. things. So now, how exactly Git fit into DevOps? So it is helpful in continuous integration. It helps us in automated testing. So if any developer has written some functionalities and they want to test it automatically using any automatic testing tool, for example Cypress. So what I will do, I will write the Cypress test cases. I will add the case file into my project. As soon as I am going to create a PR of my repository, all the tests will be run automatically. This can be done using Git and GitHub. And also it is helpful for code review. So suppose I am a intern or a junior developer working in a big company. I made some changes in my code repository, but are the changes legit? They are really valid? Should they go into production? This all things should be validated by a senior developer, and this thing can be very easily done using the Git uh, pull request. So this is also advantage of Git and GitHub. Now it is deployment with CI/CD is also one important part. Now coming to the important Git commands. Git init is something which is there to initialize a new Git repository. Git clone is there to clone an existing repository. Git add dot is there to stage all the changes. Git commit -m and my message is to commit my local changes. And git push is to push my code from my local machine to my remote GitHub repository. Git pull is something to fetch the remote code which is there on GitHub to my local machine. Now we will move to hands-on demo part. Okay, so let's get started with our part 1 hands-on demo. So coming to my local file manager, I have one folder Git tutorial, and in that I will create one more folder which is my demo one. So now I'll tell you with the help of Notepad. See, there are two ways of using Git and GitHub. The first one is I have my uh, remote Git repo. So I have my remote Git repo which is already created on GitHub. I will clone it and then change that. And the second one is I will create a project in my local machine and then I will push it to GitHub. So these are mainly two important things. So if you are you are a college student, you will be majorly doing the second thing. You'll create a project on your local, and after that you'll be pushing to GitHub. But the good thing is you can create an empty repository first, which comes in our first part, and then clone that, and you can make the changes in that as well. So I'll just tell you how we can do that. So the second part, the project on local and push to GitHub will be covered in the next part. But now in here we will cover our demo one, which is a remote repository will be there on GitHub, and we will clone that first, and I'll show you how you can make the changes in that. So for that, I'll come to my browser, and if you don't have account or you don't have Git installed, you need to do that. So I'll just show you. The first thing is Git Bash. So this is something which is there for your local. If you are using Mac, then you can just go for Git CLI, but for Windows, you can just download it from here. And now if you have to check whether it is properly installed or not, just open your command prompt, and I'll zoom it for you, and just type a command git hyphen hyphen version. So if it is properly installed, it is going to show you the version of Git. I have 2.44.0, and if you have not installed it properly, it is going to show you Git is not recognized as internal command. So if it is showing you any version, it does not matter, you will get the same, you can get the different version, because now we have Git 2.47.1 something. So this is one thing. And the second thing is you need to have a GitHub account. So what is GitHub? Just put github.com, press enter. So I have already created account. So that is why I'm just on my home page of GitHub. But if you don't have account, just create it. It is just simple as creating a Gmail account. So after creating account, suppose if you are on your home screen, just on the like top right side, click on your profile icon and your profiles. So this is how your Git profile looks like. Here are your popular repositories, and if you'll just scroll, you can see a heat map. So what heat map is, it shows you how active you are on GitHub. So if there is anything green, it means you have contributed to GitHub something. So the day when you are going to create your account, it will show you a green thing that you have just contributed by creating your account. And this is your profile icon. This is your repository section. So just click on repository section. What repository is? It is a part, or it is something, a folder in which you are going to store your code. So now uh, we are going with demo one. In that we will already have a remote repository created on GitHub. So I'll create a repository on GitHub. So I just clicked on this new, and I will give the repository name as demo one, because we are going for demo one. So add a readme file here, scroll a little bit, and you can see create repository section. Now after creating that, you can see I have my repository created. Now I'll just do one thing. I will edit this. I'll show you how you can edit the files on GitHub only. So you can see this is a readme file. I can just click on edit file, and this is something a basic HTML thing. So if you are just going to add h1 tag and author Kaustubh. So it can be changed if you are going to commit your changes. So I am going to commit the changes. Uh, Click on commit changes. So this is my commit message, which tells me like what exactly the change I had made. This is just to inform myself or inform other developers. Now you can see I am able to see commit message as update readme.md, and it has two commits. The first one, which was already created, the second one, as I just updated the author name. So commit means the things, or the, you can say, the versions of code in which we have added some features. So now suppose I just want to make a third commit in that. I will edit this file and I will add a paragraph tag as capstone project. Okay, now I'll commit this change. So now I will change my commit message to capstone commit. Now I will commit my changes. So this is going to be my third commit. Now you can see, I'll click on my code. You can see demo one, the author, which was added in my second commit, and capstone project as a paragraph, which is added in third commit. Here the number of commits change. This is the hash of my commit. How hash is very useful, we can cover it in later part. And now important thing, you are able to see what is exactly in the latest commit. In latest commit, it is my capstone commit, so I have added something regarding capstone. So now it is something which is on my GitHub, a remote repo, but now I want to change it using my local. So for that, first thing I need to have all this code in my local. So suppose I am using a VS Code editor. So in that VS Code editor, I will try to use or fetch this complete repository, which is our demo one. The repository is already created on internet, and now I am going to fetch it into my local machine. So my VS Code is now opening, and the issue is like the software from which I am recording, it is using my too much RAM. That is why everything is working too much slow. So just give me a time. Okay, now you can see my folder is open and I have demo one folder already present here. So what I will do is I am going to open the terminal. So just click on terminal and new terminal, and now you can see the terminal is open for you. Now how you can actually use the remote repo to your local is you have to clone that repo. Cloning means it is already present on your remote, you have to fetch it on your local. So for that you have to add the command git clone, and you have to put the link of your remote repository. So how I can find the link of this code? I'll just click on this green button code, and here I have https link. So I will copy this link, and if I can just download that code as well, but just to use it in a good practice, I'll just paste the link here, git clone my repo link, and I will put enter. So now it is cloning into my demo one. You can see inside my demo one there is one more folder which has the name demo one, and this is the name of my repository. So if I'm going to click on this drop down, I can see readme.md file here. I will just open that file for you. Now the thing is, you can see all the things which are there on my GitHub into my local machine. Now, what are the types of changes I can make here? So suppose if I added one more paragraph tag here, and I'm just going to put anything here. For example, uh, teaching the GitHub. So I just saved this file. You can see that white dot is now disappeared. It means it is saved on my local. I just went to my GitHub, but I'm not able to say anything like below my capstone. The reason is I made the change into my local, but this change is not pushed on my remote. That is why it is not present here. So how I can do that? There are some standard commands for it. The first one is you have to use git status. This is going okay, let me check it out. Git status. Okay, so it is giving me error. There is no git repository or any parent directories of git. So if there is any GitHub repository connected to your local or not, if you have to check that, just use the command git remote -b and push enter. So now I can see there is no git repository or any parent directory or .git. So if I'm going to use ls, it is showing me this demo one. So there is no .git file created here. So for that, what I can do is the command is there, git remote add, and I have to paste this link. Again, it is going to give me the error, so I'll just use git init. Now it has initialized a git empty repository, and now I will again try to clone git clone. Okay, so I just understand the issue is like we are not in a folder of our demo one, because this is the outer folder of demo one and this is the inside folder. So that is why it is giving me this kind of issue. So I'll just clear my terminal and now again show you. So I am in the outside demo one folder. I need to change my directory to this demo one. Now I'm here. And now if I'll use the command git remote hyphen v, which is actually there to tell me which is the remote repository connected with my git. So if I'll put enter, it is now going to tell me this is something a remote repository which is there connected on my local machine. And so now if I am going to use git status at that time, sorry, I just mistyped that, git status, you can see on I am on my main branch. So branching concept will be also covered in next video. So I am on my main branch and my branch is up to date with origin main, but changes are not staged for commit. What is this? This is one kind of changes. And suppose if I am going to add one more file here as new file, which is my index.html, I just added that. Just 1 minute. Okay, so here I'll just add a h1 tag, which is my GitHub demo. So suppose this is my index.html file. Now again, I will just clear my terminal and show you by using git status. Now we will use git status again. Now there are two different kind of things. So what exactly git status is going to help us in that, what the changes which we are making in our local and how they are different from the latest code which we have pulled from our remote. This can be told to us by git status. But now there are two different things. One is changes that are not staged, and there is something which is untracked file. So these are two different things. The first one is readme.md. So readme.md is recognized by my GitHub or my latest code, but I have made some changes in readme.md. That is why it is showing me modified. But in untracked, what it is telling me that Git does not recognize this file because this file is just now created by me. So this is the first thing, we will use git status. Then if I want to add anything, so I want to add the changes of index.html. So I'll just use git add index.html. Now if I'll again going to use git status, now you can see changes to be committed is this is something which is new file and it is now recognized by Git. But suppose I am going to make one more change in this file. So just teaching GitHub line is removed by me. I just saved this file. So it is a normal code which was already present. So get status is now only going to tell me about index.html because this is something which is already present on my latest commit. So one more change. I will add one more paragraph tag here. And here in this paragraph tag, I'll add my name, for example. So once again, I just saved that. Again, using sorry, mistyped again. I'm going to use clear. Now once again get status. So now you can see this is new file, this is modified file. I want to add the changes in both the files. So what I can do is git add dot. Dot means adding the changes of all files. Now again after git add dot, I'm going to check it. Now both the changes are like staged and I have to commit the changes. So what commit is actually adding the changes means I know that I have made the changes, I have added so that Git can recognize it. And committing changes means now this is going to be a newer version of your code. So you are sure that you are going to go with this your new changes. So for that you are going to use commit. So I will use clear, again get status. Now I have to commit the changes. So I will use get commit hyphen m and I have to put the message. So what I can put the message is index.html added. Now you can see create mode, two files change. Again git status. Now everything is fine. On my main branch, my branch is ahead because I have added one more commit. So I just showed you the commit on my remote, and this is commit on my local. And now there is nothing to commit because I have not changed anything. My Git is recognizing this as my newer version. So moving to GitHub, I want to use it here. So for that, I need to push my local changes to my remote. And for that, I'll use git push hyphen u origin main. So if you are currently using same project and you are going to push again and again on same branch, you can just use this git push hyphen u origin main command only once. Again, that you just need to add git push. So I'll enter. Now it is done. So I'll refresh that, and you can see after refreshing I have this index.html file added here and Kaustubh name added here. So this is how you are going to play with Git and GitHub. This is very helpful. So suppose if this repository has I am the owner of this repository, so I have given access of this repository to other 10 developers. So simultaneously they can also use it, they can also push their changes. And this is how a collaborative team actually works. And you can see the 3 commits are now moved to 4 commits. This is the beauty of Git and GitHub. It is very, very easy to understand. The second part is we are going to cover it in next video. But before that, I'll just give you a summary. Use Git status first, then use Git add dot, then use Git commit hyphen m your message, then git push. And if you want to pull the changes, use git pull. Sorry, git pull. So how git pull works? Suppose I made the changes. I edited this file. I just removed my name. I committed the changes as Kaustuv name remove. I committed my changes. So on my GitHub, I can see that my name is not there. It is remove, but on my local I can still see it. So for that I will use git pull. So by using git pull, I can see that line is removed. Again, I'll show you how in very short summary I will again tell you how you can add the things. Just index.html is there. You want to make any change, so add a paragraph tab and capstone project. Save that. In my readme also I am going to make a change. I will add a change, anything I can. So suppose dummy change is there. I saved this file. I will use get status as first. I can see there are 2 changes. I'll just use git add dot. Both the changes are now added. I will use git commit hyphen m, and my messages uh, changes in 2 files. The changes are now committed, and I'll just use git push. Now I'm only going to use git push, not git push hyphen u origin man, because I used that only once. It was just to set upstream that anything which I'm going to push should be going at that repository. So I use git push. You can, after the success message, you can see it on GitHub as well that these changes are present on GitHub. So it is taking some time, but yes, it is now completed. I'm just here. I will refresh that, and you can see dummy changes are here. So this is generally how the things work. This is very easy, simple part, but some confusions might be there. The one important thing is I am owner of this repository. That is why I am able to clone that repository and push my changes into the same repository. But if there is any public repository present on GitHub, and for that I am not any owner, so I will just show you a different thing. So just search for any project. For example, any project. For example, GitHub project. So I need to specify some project. So for example, late detection GitHub project. So now I can see this is something um, like this is repository for someone else. So I can clone this repository, but I'm not owner of this repository. So whenever I am going to push the changes, these changes will not be displayed in this repository because I am not the owner of this repository. For that, I need to create my own repository and push my changes to that. I cannot make changes in this repository. So this is an important thing which I wanted to tell you. Apart from that, these are the things which we covered. These are the very important command, and in next part I will tell you how you can make the project on local and push to a github repository. So that is mostly the things which I wanted to discuss in this video. If you have any kind of issues or feedback, you can just give it in my comment section, or you can you can connect with me on my LinkedIn account. So thank you so much if you are still till here, and thank you so much for watching this video.